Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Hopkins County United Way campaign total to date $150,000.33. Campaign workers are confident additional money needed to fully fund the 2018 $175,000 campaign goal will be received.
So today, all this fun stuff we've brought in a total of $42,880.27 today, giving us a grand total for the campaign so far at $149,943.33. So, and just FYI, this is our last reporting meeting. It doesn't mean that the campaign's over. The campaign will be over when we hit our goal. So again, if there's any more packets out there that you've still got, like me, Stacy's out from my office collecting them right this very second. So things are still rolling in. We've got some corporate contributions that we know will come in that we haven't reported yet. So we're confident that we'll reach our goal of $175,000. So we are very, very close. But this again is our last reporting meeting. So we want to take a special opportunity today to thank the media members that have joined us, that have been coming to all the United Way functions that we've had so far. We really appreciate y'all's coverage and the attention that you've drawn to our efforts. Want to thank our volunteers, you folks that have taken time out of your busy day to go out in the community to take the packets out, to collect on the packets, to twist an arm or two here and there to get everything turned in. We appreciate y'all so very much. Because even the board by itself couldn't accomplish this just alone. It couldn't be done. We depend on volunteers like you guys and the others that weren't able to come to our meeting but are helping us out as volunteers. And finally, we want to thank Johanna and her office mates here for allowing us use of the meeting space whenever we need it. We really do appreciate your hospitality. So with that, and one last and thank you to Susan for all her efforts in making everything happen. She makes everything run so seamlessly, makes sure everything adds up, and all the donate. You know, if there's a packet out that hasn't been picked up, she's good to holler at us and say, hey, we've got one we need to go get or something like that. So we appreciate your efforts as well, Susan. So with that, thank y'all. Yes, sir.
What did you say that total was? 149.40.
149,943.33.
All right. Well, why don't you make a personal goal? Why don't I make a personal donation of $57 so you have $150?
Hey! All right. Hey, we'll take it. Thank you, John.
The check's in the mail. Let me see.
Send a bill to the city.
So we'll call it 150. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so very much.
And we'll get the thank you letters out.
Yes, and we'll get the thank you letters out. And there's going to be a little added extra in the thank you letters this year, but you'll find out when you get yours. So anyway, thank you guys so very much for your time and your efforts.
Thanks all.
So God bless.
Dana Lynn Gandy, also known as Dana Lynn Hainsworth, was found guilty by a Hopkins County jury of felony theft less than $2,500 two or more times. The decision was made Wednesday afternoon. It took the jury 13.5 minutes to convict her. The defendant was charged with theft less than $2,500 with two previous theft convictions based on incidents from May 2nd, 2017 at the local Walmart. She went into the store during the early morning hours and staged 5 shopping carts around the store in various places. She filled the carts with merchandise and then attempted to push one of the carts out the door without paying. When stopped at the door by a Walmart employee, she abandoned the cart rather than paying for the items and remained in the store for several hours, according to Clay Harrison, Assistant District Attorney, who tried the case. At approximately 9:30 a.m., she tried a different strategy. Rather than pushing out one of the carts, she pretended to pay for the merchandise at one of the self-check registers. She rang up $300 worth of merchandise in a cart with over $1,000 in merchandise. When she concluded ringing up the $300, she began to push the cart out of the store without paying even the $300. Despite ringing up that merchandise, she was stopped by the Walmart asset protection officers when she passed the last point of sale with the stolen merchandise. She's also convicted of theft from the Silver Springs Walmart in 2014, and a 2010 theft that took place in Tyler, Texas. Another shoplifting incident from Titus County was the basis for her parole revocation in 2010. The defendant has pending felony charges in Hopkins County for child endangerment abandonment. After the jury found the defendant guilty, Judge Eddie Northcutt released her on bond until sentencing. Sentencing will take place before the judge on November 28th. Tuesday night during the Silver Springs City Council meeting, City Manager Mark Maxwell presented his monthly report. Regarding streets, Maxwell reported that the rework of Moore Street is completed and the street is again open. He stated that Pampa Street rework is moving at a brisk pace. The sewer line is finished and the water line is 75% complete, with all water connections expected to be completed in the next 2 weeks. When the water line and connections are completed, a cement stabilizer base and repave of the street will be completed. Potholes patched totaled 151 during the month of November, and 7 street repairs following utility repairs were completed. 2 additional street repairs for soft spots were completed. Work at the wastewater treatment plant is on schedule. The 3 primary clarifier basins have been constructed and backfill continues. Other concrete structures adjacent to the clarifiers are also under construction. At the library, 3,080 items and 462 e-books checked out, as well as computer usage of 1,274 hours during the month of November. The animal shelter responded to 214 animal control calls and have an adoption rate of 30% for November. Local police recorded 66 offenses, wrote 840 traffic citations, made 84 arrests, and responded to 33 accidents. Several months ago, a team of friends who loved Zena Young for a long time began a total remodel of Miss Young's home. Wednesday afternoon, the big reveal of the work accomplished greeted Miss Young when she returned to her home for the first time since the work began, according to Rachel Draper, who served as an organizer of the work.
My name is Rachel Draper, and we are here tonight to have a big reveal for Miss Zena Young. Several months ago, a team of friends, people who have loved her for a very long time, really answered a call from God to come in and totally remodel her home for her. Zena has been a committed person to her church family, her school family. She's worked at the school for many, many years. She's been a wonderful mother, aunt, sister to so many people. And she's had a lot of struggle. She's really had to fight through a lot of things. Her son was murdered a couple years ago here in Silver Springs, and she just needed a boost. And so we got together and just started a mission to completely remodel her home, and this is what's happening tonight. She has not seen it at all. She's not even driven down this street. So we are super excited to show her what God did for her. And we know that Zena is going to use this home to open it and love people and provide a warm place for people to come.
Alrighty. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who all's involved in this?
Okay, so it's really difficult for me to tell you exactly who all's involved in this because it grew. There was an original group that it was really kind of funny because God really a couple years ago told me I needed to do something with her home, and I kept thinking, oh, I need to write one of those little HGTV things and say, hey, come remodel this wonderful woman's house. And then I thought, no, you just need to step up and you need to group together and do it. And so I started mentioning it to a couple people, and they were all like, you're exactly right. We need to do this. And so back in the spring, I emailed some people that I knew would really take a vested interest in this. The Robert and Norma Draper, my in-laws, David McKeag, Brad and Tanya Bradford, Jan and Wade Bartley, Ricky and Jana Godwin, Felicia Lewis, and I met together and we dreamed and thought we're gonna get this done. And so the very first night when we decided that we were gonna do this, Jan and I came over here And we sat down with Zena and we told her we wanted to do something special for her. We asked her if she could dream the biggest dream, what would it be? And she says, I just want to have a washer and dryer inside the house, because she'd been having to come outside in the dark, in the cold, and wash her clothes outside. And so I thought, wow, of all the things she could dream, if that was the thing that she wanted, then we can make that happen. So then after that, those particular people went out and started making some phone calls and just asking people to contribute. And so anyway, that's how it all started.
Who did the actual work?
A lot. This man right here, Mike. This man right here, because at first we were not able to raise the amount that we needed to hire a lot of contractors. Mike has a lot of construction experience, and he said, you know what, I'm just going to step up and I'll grab my hammer and I'll put my work gloves on and get to work. And so he and Ricky Godwin spent a lot of time over here doing things. There were some subcontractors, of course, we brought in, like some sheetrock guys and texture and paint, plumbers, electricians, that we hired. But everyone, because they knew and believed in the project, they gave us great deals. People love stuff like this. They want to be involved, and so it's been amazing to see what God's done with this project.
Amen on that.
Yep.
So what got you interested in this project? What got you involved?
She and I have been kind of discussing this about for a year and a half or so, and we didn't know how God would move to get this started, but when he did, we jumped right in it. This is I've been in construction for 40 years, so it wasn't anything new to me. So we love our sister Zena, and she's had a burden on her heart for about 2 years now, and it kind of rolled over on us. So we pitched in. I'm just a pixel in the big picture.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That man over there did just as much as I did. It's all support here. It's everybody loving everybody else. Everybody wanting to do God's will in this. And I think we accomplished that.
Yes, we did.
And to him goes all the glory, none of us.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Shortly after the first of the year, filing will open for the May 5th municipal and school elections in the state of Texas. However, two have already announced through social media their intent to file for Sulphur Springs City Council Place 1. Incumbent Craig Johnson has announced his intent to seek re-election. Justin Davidson has announced his intent to challenge Johnson in the quest for the seat. Incumbent Johnson established a social media page and a Twitter account last week. He stated in his first post, quote, "It has been a privilege and honor to serve the citizens of Sulphur Springs as your city councilman for Place 1. I am fourth generation Hopkins County, was raised here, and have lived in other cities. His wife, Ch.18, and he chose to move back to Sulphur Springs to raise their children. He said, my goal is to work with other members of the city council and staff to steadily make this a better place for everyone, including those who don't live here yet. It is a long time until elections in the spring of 2018. I will be posting things here periodically on the social media page and things of public interest and campaign-related items if he draws an opponent. Enter Justin Davidson, who also announced his intent to seek the seat Wednesday night on social media. Davidson, a Sulphur Springs native, a Navy veteran, and a member of the Hopkins County Military Coalition, announced his intent to run for City Council Place 1. He said, I am pleased and honored to announce my intent for candidacy to the City Council of my hometown. During my life experiences, coupled with my countless hours of attending City Council meetings and listening to the people of Sulphur Springs, I have gained an understanding of the complexities of the city government, including the capabilities and limitations. He said that in his campaign, he sees as the primary role for a council member to be an advocate for the people of the city of Sulphur Springs. He said there are several issues that will be facing the council in the next 2 to 5 years. They include transportation issues, including roads, taxation, water sewer lines, and new business development outside of Celebration Plaza. He said, in addition, the city needs to strengthen the community foundations to bring more jobs to the city and focus on ensuring that current jobs are not eliminated. He said he believes that the foundation of any thriving community should include education, the arts, shopping, and recreation.
Earlier during the month of November, another of the Veterans Honor Flights took off from the Dallas area with a group of Northeast Texas veterans, including one Sulphur Springs veteran, Lynn Turner. He's come in this morning to our studios to tell us about his trip and the honor flight. You are a Korean War era veteran.
Right.
You went in 1951.
Right. I was in college at Texas Tech, and I got that Uncle Sam wants you request, and I enlisted in the Navy. I'd never seen the ocean. I'd only been out of the state a couple of times, so it was quite an adventure.
Okay. Any particular reason why you chose Navy? Do you have a good recruiter?
I really don't know why I chose the Navy. I guess because I'd never been anywhere and seen the ocean, but it sounded like what I wanted to do. My brother was in the Army in World War II, but I chose the Navy. Yeah.
And in the Navy, of course, you went many places and saw many things, had great things happen to you and memorable things, but what job did you serve?
I was a photographer. After schooling, I went to photo school at Pensacola, and after that, I went to NAS Corpus Christi for about a year, and my commander sent me to another school, and after that school, I went to the Naval Photographic Center in Washington, D.C., Anacostia, and it was there that the most important thing while I was in the Navy happened. I met my wife, who worked for the Navy Department, and interestingly, I was due for sea duty, and my initial orders came through, and it said Comair Pac, which means anywhere from California on west.
Okay.
And we were just sure it was going to be California, so she quit her job at the Navy Department, and so on our wedding day, I got my final orders, and instead of California, it was Marianas, which meant Guam. So we were together 10 days, and then I shipped out to Guam, and she fortunately came over 6 months later.
Okay.
The housing shortage was a year long to get a base housing, so we found some Guamanian housing that we lived in.
So you took pictures. You, besides being the only photographer for MCB-10, and I asked you, what is MCB-10?
Say again?
What is MCB-10?
A Mobile Construction Battalion, better known as CBs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you have to take pictures of?
Well, the work that they do, the CBs were mostly tradesmen, carpenters, concrete workers, mechanics, and whatnot, who came into the service and went to doing the same thing, only for the Navy. And they were used wherever they were needed at the particular time. The Korean War was just getting started, and our battalion was building housing on Guam for the Air Force Base. We had 2 nervous moments. It looked like we might go to South Vietnam when the communists were running the French out of Vietnam, but fortunately it ended before we had to go. And another nervous moment, we were on standby to go to the Strait of Formosa. If you recall, Chiang Kai-shek established a nationalist China, he called it, and the communist Chinese, and that was on what used to be Formosa. It's now called
Senior moment?
Yeah, Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of those senior moments, it seems. And the Chinese had a small island at the edge of the Formosa Straits, and they have it heavily fortified and guns, and they were threatening to stop all shipping. And it's a very important shipping area that our merchant marine and military ships use. But diplomacy with Secretary of State Dulles saved the day, and we didn't have to go.
That is good.
Yes.
The length of the time that you served in the Navy?
Almost 4 years. 4-year enlistment, but the war was over the time I got out, and they gave us a 2-month retrieve, let us out early. In my case, I'd rather we stayed in because I was going to go back to school, and they let me out in 1st of November, and school started in January. So we had a hungry time there for a couple of months.
Well, after you were discharged, you went to college.
Right. Yes, I had 2.5 years at Texas Tech, and we went to Harding University in Arkansas. Both of us went to school, and when I finished there, I went to the University of Arkansas and started working on a master's degree. Then, a very unusual move. I was older than the typical, I was advanced age of 25.
Oh my.
But the superintendency opened up in a little school where my wife had graduated from, and I applied, and they accepted me. I hadn't taught, but I had experience, and I stayed there for 3 years, then taught in New Mexico a couple of years where the pay was better than the superintendent in Arkansas, and came back and finished my doctor's degree in the University of Arkansas.
Say.
And then came down to Texas. Well, I worked there for 4 years, the University of Arkansas, in the Division of General Extension. Then I came to Commerce. We lived in Commerce for 7 or 8 years before moving here.
Okay.
My wife taught in Sulphur Springs High School, so...
Well, tell us her name.
Aline Turner.
Okay.
She taught social studies, principally sociology and psychology.
Okay.
And it seemed easier for me to commute than her, so we moved over here in 78.
And what about time that you spent, well, you both traveled, enjoyed travel too, but time that you spent as a minister?
Well, what you'd call a lay minister. After I retired, we'd always wanted to travel, so we traveled for 3 or 4 years, and we had an opportunity to go to Russia with a missionary to teach Russian teachers, English teachers, and we went to Russia 3 times, and we got the bug to have travel with a purpose, and we made many short-term mission trips in the next 20 years, and the last ones we did were serving a military congregation in England and Germany. The one in England is a little place called Brandon, a little village near 2 big air bases, Lakenheath and Mendenhall, the last 2 air bases, U.S. bases in America, in England.
Okay.
And we went there 9 summers. We didn't go in, they didn't really need us in the rest of the year. They had, in the summer, the guys traveled around England if they had leave time, or they went home, or they entertained their parents coming over, or whatever. And so we enjoyed that. We were kind of surrogate parents and grandparents, and did a lot of counseling and visiting with the kids and whatnot.
So it was kind of a completion of a circle from your time in the military then to serving those who were military.
Right. Actually, when I was in college, I was going to be in business. But after I was in the service, we got at Harding, we got oriented to a service in education orientation, and we enjoyed that very much.
Well, I want to thank you for your military service and post-military service and education service and all that you've done in your life, Lynn Turner.
Well, thank you. I tell people I'm certainly not a hero, because the only thing Only shooting I did in the military was with a camera, but you do what you're told in the military.
As you said, you serve in the capacity assigned.
Right.
And you did that well. Well, we're going to jump ahead then in time to just last week when you went on the honor flight. And the honor flight is something so special for U.S. veterans to get to see their monuments in Washington, D.C.
Right. And what is so special about the whole trip is wherever we went, when they saw what we had on, and our those went with us had on red jackets and caps, they just applauded and came up and shook our hands. The thing that touched me the most is teenagers and elementary school kids would come up to you and shake your hand and say, "Thank you for your service." I was impressed by that. You'd
That
think
shows some good training.
teenagers wouldn't be that interested in congratulating a veteran for their service, but it was very touching.
Well, you had lived in Washington, D.C. at one time, and then this returned on the honor flight.
Right.
So,
actually, we were in D.C. 2 times. Like I say, we're married in D.C. I met my wife there, and 10 days after we were married, I got shipped out to Guam, and she was able to join me 6 months later. But in 1988, the American Association of School Administrators they don't have it anymore, a special program where they invited a professor to come up and be at the headquarters for a semester. So we were able to do that in 1988, and that was neat. Aline said we were returning to the scene of the crime.
well, there's a lot of good humor in the things you tell, and a lot of humility. You've done a lot more than I think you've put on these pages for me to read during this brief interview, and we don't have very much time. I know the honor flights are very well planned out. There's someone assigned to you, which you had a nephew that
my
volunteered.
grandson, my 37-year-old grandson, a graduate of Sulphur Springs High School, David Simpson, was my guardian. He did a marvelous job, and it was a great experience.
Medical personnel go along on the flight in case of a need or for people who are already under medical care. There's local people named like Judy Heaps.
Yeah, Judy is a special person. She's a graduate. She's Hopkins County gal, Sulphur Springs High School, and she was formerly a teacher in West Mesquite High School. She spends a lot of time on the honor flights. She's the secretary, in fact, of the group, and she helps organize these programs. She's one of the 2 group leaders.
You saw the Army Memorial, which is Arlington.
Arlington Cemetery.
The U.S. Marine Corps.
Is under construction at the moment.
And then you saw the Navy Memorial downtown.
And
downtown Washington, D.C., and Air Force Memorial.
Yes, indeed. And incidentally, I learned something. Do you know how many monuments there are in Washington, D.C.? Only one. The rest of them are memorials. There's the Washington Monument, and everything else is a memorial. That was new to me.
Thank you for that. And very briefly, tell us, you got mail call.
Yes, the highlight of the trip on the flight back, they said mail call, and they passed out a big packet of letters to everybody, all the veterans. Letters from family, letters from people all over the country, letters from preschool, middle school, high school kids. It was most humbling.
Let's don't leave out the Coast Guard Memorial, which you got to see kind of on your way out.
Yeah, right.
And also you were treated to music, jazz music, and great vocalists with big bands.
Talk about special. The Air Force has a special jazz band, and we had a private concert just for our group, and it was marvelous. And they had the vocalist was very good, and when she sang God Bless America there at the end, there was tears. She had tears, and we all did too.
I can see that still moves you, and your feelings for our country and all that it has stood for and stands for today.
Well, it's a great country.
Here's Don Julian with sports.
Lady Cats senior star basketball player Kaylee Jefferson signed a letter of intent Wednesday afternoon to play college basketball at East Carolina in Greenville, North Carolina. It was the second Division I signing for a Lady Cat on Wednesday. Kaylee is the daughter of Michael and Carrie Jefferson. I talked with Kaylee Jefferson Wednesday afternoon in the main high school gym. East Carolina, huh? Tell us how that came all about.
It was really just a good fit for me. As soon as I met the coaches, I mean, it just felt like home, so that's why I chose it.
How'd you get on to them?
They actually just were recruiting me down in Virginia. I had a big Nike tournament down there, and they just started me sitting a bunch of stuff, and it just so happened that their school was close to the tournament I was playing in, so we went on a visit, and it just kind of fell into place from there.
All right. What kind of team have they had at East Carolina?
They've been pretty successful in the past. They've got a bunch of new coaches each year, so I think they're kind of building the program, so I look forward to helping them do that.
Have you visited, obviously? What do you think of them?
I love it. It's a beautiful campus, college town, feels like home. Everyone's very supportive of the athletes there, so I think I'll fit in very well.
What town is it in Carolina?
Greenville, North Carolina.
And what kind of role do they see for you on the team?
I'll be playing like a 3 stretch 4. So basically just playing an emotion offense. I'm a mismatch for most players, so they're really just looking for me to exploit mismatches. So
probably helps you're able to handle the ball real well, so it's not like a lot of posts. They're kind of challenged in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it an interesting recruiting process for you?
Yes, it was a long and hard recruiting process, but I'm happy with my decision, and I think it'll end up really well for me.
A lot of people coming at you sideways, I guess?
Not really. I mean, you just have, there's jealousy plays into it, everything, so I just kind of made the decision that fit me and tried not to listen to what other people said.
And what kind of Lady Cats basketball season are you looking forward to now?
I'm hoping for a good one. We have a good group of girls, and I think if we just try our best and all play to our potential, we could be really good this year.
Well, you've been a difference maker in 2 sports as far as I'm concerned. I think it's no coincidence that the volleyball program is an all-time high and the basketball program is up there. And it's happened in the last 4 years, and you're a factor in that.
Thank you so much. I've definitely enjoyed my time here and making a difference and being remembered, making history. I've loved it all. So,
what kind of major are you going to have?
I want to be a radiologist, so probably either biology or biochemistry. I'm not for sure yet. So,
how far from home is that?
I think it's like 13 or 14 hours, so I'll be flying back and forth from home. But
best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank
also
you.
Commenting on the signing were Kaylee's father, Michael Jefferson, and Lady Cats basketball coach, Jeff Chapman.
I think it's an exciting opportunity for her. She's worked her tail off over the years. Obviously it's a huge sacrifice. Me and my wife know, being former Division I athletes. So a lot of kids are out enjoying their summers and vacationing here in the gym and traveling to some of these AAU events. And but I told her one day it's all going to pay off. So if she gets her education paid for and go to a reputable university like the East Carolina, and great coaching staff, play in a good conference. And I told her hopefully she's part of the class that knocks off UConn one of these years while she's up there. That would be nice, yeah.
Both you and your wife, I'm sure, have kind of helped her out with recruiting process and going through that can be a hassle for a kid.
For sure, especially with Kaylee, she's very mature, very focused. She is a true student athlete. I don't think she's ever made a B in her academic career. So she wants to go to medical school. So for us, it was finding a good program that fit her needs academically and athletically. So that's part of what we looked at during the recruiting process, a good fit for her with her teammates. And it was good to get up to the university on an official visit and meet the teammates and the coaching staff and just the surroundings there. I think it's going to be a good fit for her.
I bet there's a lot of basketball conversation around the Jefferson household. You've got quite a clan over there of good basketball players.
Yeah, for sure. We moved here from Kentucky, and my sons played football there in Kentucky, not so much basketball until we moved here to Texas. So when we moved to Texas, with it being a football mecca, you know, I was really excited about following their football career. And then Michael, my middle son, you know, he's went straight basketball now. So, which, you know, I never really pushed my kids to, even with Kaylee. I mean, her story was she didn't even really pick up a basketball, play competitive sports till she was in the 6th grade. She was into cheerleading and dance, and we never pushed her anyway. And one day she said, "Mom, I want to play basketball," and here we are today. So.
Does she take on Michael and Victor? Does she get out there and practice with them? I mean, I can't imagine that wouldn't make her better if you know, she can survive.
Oh yeah, in the summers, you know, they go to the Rock and she plays with the boys, and you know, we've got a trainer that comes up here from Dallas that works them all out, all 4 of them. So there's a very competitive family, academically and athletically. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I told her the other day in practice that it was, you know, the day she's been waiting for. And you know, she's been dreaming of this day probably ever since she understood or knew what D1 meant, and that's awesome. You know, I've had girls get D1 looks, but not official offer. So Katie's the first.
She's been this is her 4th year in the program. You had to kind of bring her up and push her in a little early, but boy, she's made a difference for your team, hadn't she?
Oh yeah, she's a beast. I'm watching her play now. Her outside shot's more consistent. It used to be, you know, it was okay, and she could, you know, kind of hurt you down low. And she understood the game, you know, how to score, how to, you know, make her shot. Now, I think, you know, she's becoming that complete player with the outside shot. She's finding her teammates, very unselfish. So I think she's the real deal. We just got, you know, at this point, as far as team-wise, we got to develop more depth to go with her, and we're athletic at a few positions, and that's a good thing. But for Kaylee though, she's going to play probably more wing this year than she's ever had, plus post.
The Wildcats golf team finished 8th among 16 teams at a tournament Tuesday at Garden Valley Golf Course on I-20 between Van and Lindale. The team shot a .342. Wildcats golf coach Chris Owens called the score a little disappointing, and he added the players did not play up to their potential. They shot .322 at a Mount Pleasant tournament last week. Carter Lewis and Cameron Morris both shot 84 to lead the Wildcats. Kip Childress shot 86. Andrew Escobar had an 88, and Colton Bench shot 89. Coach Owens said all of his players have shot in the 70s at tournaments before. He is convinced his players can get their scores back down by the spring. Coach Owens said the Garden Valley course was in good shape, and he called the weather just a little inclement. He said it was a little cool, but he added it only rained on the team on their way to the course. The Saltillo Lady Lions basketball team had a rough night Tuesday night against Leonard. Leonard took a 61-15 win. Madison Simmons led the Lady Lions with 7 points. Maddie Smith had 4 points. Jocelyn Ochoa and Shelby Matlock added 2 points apiece. The Lady Lions JV also lost to Leonard 31-12, and the Lady Lions JV was led by Brittany Peoples with 6 points. The Lady Lions varsity plays next at Bullard Saturday at 4 p.m.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.